Imagine a man falling 800 feet from a helicopter into the dense greenery of the Indonesian jungle. When soldiers found what remained of him 4 days later, the scene was gruesome. His face was gone, his hands were missing, and his body had been partially reclaimed by the jungle and its scavengers. This man was Michael de Guzman, chief geologist at Bre-X, a small Canadian company. Just days before his death, he had been hailed as the man who had discovered El Dorado, a gold deposit worth $200 billion. But while his body lay in a Samarinda morgue, a $6 billion empire began to crumble. This isn't just a story about a fake mine. It's a story about the terrifying speed of human greed and the high price of a lie that everyone wanted to believe. To understand how the world was conned, we must look at the man in the basement. In 1993, David Walsh was a bankrupt businessman in Calgary. He was the kind of guy who had more debt than dreams, working out of a cluttered room and watching his bank balance dwindle to nothing. In a last-ditch effort to turn his life around, he reached out to Michael de Guzman. They had met years earlier when de Guzman, a charismatic Filipino geologist, had convinced Walsh that a huge gold deposit was hidden in the Busang region of the Indonesian jungle. Walsh scraped together every cent he had left, ignored his creditors, and sent de Guzman into the wild. The first year was a disaster. The jungle is a brutal place, hot, humid, and rife with malaria. De Guzman was getting nowhere. The drills were pulling up nothing but worthless rock. They were weeks away from closing their doors forever. Then, as if by magic, the miracle happened. De Guzman sent word back to Calgary. They had found gold. Not just a little gold, but a massive volcanic-hosted deposit. Initial reports suggested 2 million ounces. Then it was 10 million, then 30 million. By the time the frenzy reached its peak, the figure had risen to 70 million ounces of gold. The stock price of Bre-X, which had been trading at a few pennies, exploded. It didn't just rise, it went vertical. It reached $10, then $50, then $100, finally topping out at $280 per share. David Walsh, the man from the basement, was suddenly worth $400 million. Teachers, firefighters, and pensioners across Canada and the United States poured their life savings into Bre-X. Even the most sophisticated investment banks on Wall Street were urging their clients to buy. They called it the find of the century. But amid all the excitement, nobody was asking the most important question. How exactly was de Guzman finding all this gold? What was happening inside de Guzman's jungle shack was more fascinating than any heist movie. In order to maintain the deception, de Guzman was salting the samples. Every morning before the samples were sent to the laboratory, he would secretly add gold to them. But he had a problem. He didn't have access to pure, mined gold. So he took his own 18-karat gold wedding ring, filing off tiny flakes and adding them to the crushed rock. Once he had used up one ring, he bought another. Once he had exhausted that supply, he started buying panned gold from local villagers who filtered tiny bits of gold from the nearby rivers. For almost 3 years, a man with a file and a handful of river dust had been manipulating the entire global financial system. The manipulation was so extensive that when independent laboratories examined the gold under a microscope, they noticed something unusual. The gold flakes were rounded. Gold trapped in hard rock for millions of years in nature has sharp, jagged edges. It is only gold that has been tossed around in a river for centuries that becomes smooth and rounded. Instead of screaming fraud, the experts came up with complex geological theories to explain why this specific volcano produced round gold. Greed had turned the smartest people in the room into idiots. They wanted the gold to be real so badly that they refused to acknowledge the obvious, that the gold had come from a river. The house of cards began to wobble when American mining giant Freeport-McMoran was brought in to help develop the site. They were the big players. They brought their own drills and geologists. They drilled just a few feet away from de Guzman's golden holes. They pulled up the rock, crushed it, and tested it. They found nothing, not a single flake. They demanded an emergency meeting with de Guzman at the Busang site. He was supposed to explain the discrepancy. He boarded a helicopter to meet them, and allegedly opened the door and jumped. The aftermath was a bloodbath. When news broke that the gold was fake, The stock froze and then plummeted to zero. $6 billion worth of wealth vanished in an instant. People lost their homes, their retirement funds, and their faith in the system. David Walsh fled to the Bahamas, claiming he was just as shocked as everyone else. Another top executive, John Felderhoff, moved to the Cayman Islands. Both men insisted that Michael de Guzman was a rogue operator who had fooled them all. But the mystery didn't die with the stock price. Conspiracy theories began to circulate almost immediately. Some people pointed out that the body found in the jungle was in such a state of decomposition that it was impossible to be 100% sure that it was de Guzman's. There were also reports that the handwriting on his suicide note didn't match his own. Years later, his ex-wife claimed that she had received an anonymous check for $25,000 with a note that sounded just like him. There were also sightings of him in the Philippines and Brazil. Many believe that the man who fell from the sky was a decoy, a corpse purchased from a local morgue, while the real Michael de Guzman escaped with millions of dollars and a new identity. Whether he is a ghost in South America or a skeleton in the Indonesian mud, the Bre-X story remains the ultimate warning. It shows us that the stock market isn't always driven by maths or logic, but by stories. We are suckers for a good story, especially one that promises us something for nothing. De Guzman and Walsh didn't just sell gold, they sold a dream. When the dream finally died, all that remained was a file, a shaved wedding ring, and an empty, silent jungle that never contained any gold.